What's going on, everybody? This is DJ from the Culture War, and I'm doing a solo video today. So I just wanted to talk about what I've been seeing with the recent Virginia elections, with Youngkin winning and also Winsome Sears, who I'm going to more so talk about Winsome Sears in this video. I'll probably do another video about Youngkin winning and what that could mean. But in going through this whole Winsome winning, lieutenant governor being the first black woman to win office. They say woman of color here, but I hate this term, blank of color. Just it's a step removed from a colored person. So I hate this term. Anyway, I just think it's funny that leftists will call people blank of color, or like how they constantly call the Latino community Latinx when they hate that shit. But that's neither here or there. But let's get back into this. So Winsome Sears won her race for lieutenant governor of Virginia, ran alongside Glenn Youngkin, and the reactions by the, I want to say, progressive media, because I don't want to call them liberals because they really aren't liberals, but the reaction by the progressive media is it's been quite an interesting one. So let's first talk about Joy Reid.
That these Republicans are dangerous, that this isn't a party that's just another political party that disagrees with us on tax policy, that at this point, they're dangerous. They're dangerous to our national security, because stoking that kind of soft white nationalism eventually leads to the hardcore stuff.
And that's the end of that. Basically, they don't know how to, especially Joy Reid. Joy Reid, I'm going to also show her the Michael Eric Dyson and that clown and what he had to say. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But essentially, they are, when Youngkin won, these people were extremely scared about what would happen next, what that means for 2024 and the election then, or 2022, I should say, sorry, the election in 2022 for the House and Senate, and even 2024 and what that would mean. But I find it interesting that, they're talking about these people, the Republicans are a party of hate and things of that nature. And I'm not a Republican myself, I'm an independent, but at the same time, you're sitting here like the only people getting further and further radical, the only people purporting hate and promoting the othering of other groups of people, all I'm seeing doing that are the progressive type of individuals, the individuals that like to be on MSNBC and CNN and so on and so forth. I'm independent such as myself, independent centrists, disaffected liberals, people of the right. I don't see them doing or engaging in this type of rhetoric on their end. I'm only seeing it from the left, and it's telling about the type of clown world these people live in and just the insular bubble. I mean, I saw not Joy Reid, but it's the one lady on The View where she's talking to Michael Eric Dyson, and she's saying that she's worried because if Trump or the Republicans win, she's generally worried for the country. Not seeing any nothing that's going on now apparently phases her. But if Trump were to get in, or get reelected, which is another thing, like they need Trump as this boogeyman and to keep hyping him up as a danger when that couldn't be farther from the case. But you see the Democratic and the Biden administration and the issues that have come about from that administration. You got the Afghanistan issue, you got the inflation, border crisis, extreme spending of money, worker shortage, the mandates from the various Democratic leaders in different states, the port restrictions, the vaccine mandates, all of that. All of these things is not something that she's worried about. It's only that. But let's go deeper into, because I want to specifically talk about the Michael Eric Dyson incident with her. So first thing Joy Reid does apparently is she basically says the fact that a black person won the lieutenant governor seat, it doesn't really matter because it was two essentially people of color. I hate that term. It's two minority individuals, one being an Afro-Latina and the other one being Winsome Sears. So she says the two choices voters had in Virginia were a black woman who shares my daughter's name and Jamaican heritage, and an Afro-Latina who is part lesbian. Oh, Lebanese. Sorry, I said lesbian. Part Lebanese. Reid noted in her conversation with Dyson. So you had a choice of two brown/black people, and you picked one of them. Do you get credit? Do you get special credit? It's like I had ice cream or cake as two options, but I want credit for lowering my calorie count because I picked ice cream. You had two choices, and they were both black. But you would think, because these people don't listen to what they're saying, you would think that that's what they want. These are two black people, these are two minority individuals that at least on the surface, in terms of their skin tone, and their heritage, they serve the purpose of what progressives want. So so she's saying it doesn't really matter because you had for me, I mean, the fact of the matter is you had two of these individuals running on the ballot against each other. These were your final two choices. So that means the people running, not only the people running, but the people voting were very much okay with these two individuals, these two women, having these roles, or at least running against each other for these roles. So to me, if you're going to say, you want to bring up white supremacy, even in this conversation, they're going to bring up white supremacy and so on and so forth. If you want to bring that up, that should be a good step in the right direction, because you have two people who aren't white running against each other, and these are your two options at this point. So you would think that would be a good thing, but in their mind, it's not a good thing. They have to somehow turn this into it's not actually good. Like, you don't get credit, or you don't get cookie. You get a cookie for doing what I guess you should have did, what they want you to do, with all the candidates or whatnot. I guess maybe they want all the candidates to be non-white, and that's all I'm getting. But apparently everyone else is the racist here. So Dyson added in a reconversation, they want credit for having hair in the morning. I think this is a mistype. Or getting up and brushing their teeth. Look, I've made an achievement that should be noteworthy. No, you're doing what all political figures must do, make choices. The problem is here. They want white supremacy by ventriloquist effect. And then he's gonna go into it's so terrible, because it's like, at one point, this is what you wanted. You wanted all black people. You wanted all, minorities, non-white people running for these offices. But when you get the two choices, it's not good enough, because the person you wanted to win didn't win, because they have an R in front of their name instead of a D. So it's so look, and this is the part where I constantly tell people, if you are black, to these people, you only serve one purpose, and that is to go and toe the party line. You don't have the ability to make a choice. You don't have the ability to make your own ideas, form your own opinions, to come at certain situations different from what is expected of you, in terms of what is expected for you in the party line, I guess you could say. Well, what the pathway and the blueprint set out for you is set out for you when you hit this party, when you actually, not before you even enter this party, because you're assigned this party once you're born, apparently. So the pathway and the blueprint is set for you. You just have to follow it. And any deviation from that, it means you're either a bad black person, or you're a bad minority, or so on and so forth. So to continue, Michael Eric Dyson says, there is a black mouth movement, but white ideas running on the runway of the tongue of a figure who justifies and legitimates the white supremacist practices. So it again, and that's why I prefaced it, because she is somebody that isn't a progressive, isn't a leftist, and she is black, or woman of color, as they would like to say, there must be something wrong with her. Because we have to decry her, and mainly it's because they have to decry her in some sense, because she runs counter to the narrative. She runs counter to what's being told. And as you see more and more black people, such as myself, more and more black people as like Young Ripper, Ruin Leon, Gothics, etc., and there's far more larger than me. But as you start seeing these individuals, more of these individuals come up and start speaking their mind, that don't, they look a certain way, but they don't follow the expected party line. They don't tote or flaunt the same pre-approved messaging that they should have. You're going to see where they're trying their hardest to cast those white people as white supremacists. It's the same thing that happened with Larry Elder, as when they said that Larry Elder was the black face of white supremacy. Like I said, the more of these individuals start showcasing themselves, and then it doesn't have to be black conservatives. It can be someone like myself, who is more of a slightly left libertarian, center left libertarian type of individual. The more you get these type of people speaking their minds and running counter to the narrative, it's the more you're going to get the backlash where you and let me actually read what he says. Michael Dyson's, where he says, "There's a black mouth moving, but a white idea through the running on the runway of the tongue." He had a stutter there, of a figure who justifies and legitimates the white supremacist practices. He continued, "We know that we can internalize in our own minds, in our own subconscious, in our own bodies, the very principles that are undoing us. So to have a black face speaking in behalf of white supremacist legacy is nothing new. And it is to the chagrin of those of us who study race that the white folk on the other side and the right wingers on the other side don't understand." So again, she can't be appealing to anybody in their mind. She can't be appealing to anybody other than a white person, or a racist white person, or right winger, or whoever their political target is for the month. And it's usually white people and white right wingers. But so someone like myself can't identify with her, or shouldn't, I should say, identify with her, because she is just a puppet. Instead of being their puppet, she's in their mind the right winger's puppet. And this should let you know about the way these individuals view black people, and not just black people, but minority individuals in this country, which is, you're a tool to be used only for their particular ideology and doctrine. Any deviation, and you are no longer part of the tribe, quote unquote. You're engaging in whiteness and white thought, which he specifically says there's a black mouth moving. The body is black, but the ideas are white. So the ideas that he has, he's immediately ascribing whiteness to them, or they're in opposition to what you should feel as a black person. And I know I might be repeating myself, but it's really upsetting, because you like, for instance, when I grew up, right? I was constantly told I wasn't black enough. I didn't speak like a black person should. I didn't necessarily, I listened to, rap and stuff. So in terms of music, I didn't really get on that. I didn't really get hounded about that too much. Shawnee did, because Shawnee has a far wider musical range of taste than I do. But we both got good grades in school, didn't speak like we didn't have any sense, very polite, well-behaved kids. So we were looked at as outcasts. We didn't act hood enough, which hood was supposed to be ascribed to you because by way of you being black. But and I'm going to bring this up too. So this is an archive of what I'm actually talking about. So this was part of the National Museum of African American History and Culture. This has been, at least this portion, this chart has been taken down, but I'm going to put the archive. And it got taken down because people took notice to it and was putting it out. So when these people talk about whiteness, and we'll go over this several times, but when these people talk about whiteness, it's not just about whiteness in terms of white people. It's white. They're talking about a culture, and they're talking about traditions, and they're talking about something that's more intrinsic to white people and the kind of way they do things, right? And the things that they attribute to whiteness is rugged individuals, family structure, emphasis on scientific method, history, Protestant work ethic, so working hard being the key to success, religion, status and power and authority, future orientation, time, aesthetics, that's based on European culture and so on and so, holidays, based on Christian religious, justice based on English common law, competition and communication. So apparently if you come on time and you follow a rigid schedule, that's adhering to whiteness. If you work hard, adhering to whiteness. If you're very individualistic, you take the approach that I am an individual and I need to do X, Y, and Z, or I need to be independent, I need to be motivated, I need to go out there, I need to be self-reliant, and it even says self-reliant. These are things akin to whiteness. So not to mention how racist this is, because apparently, when we go back in time and we have various cultures, farming and things like that, who follow this strict time schedule, apparently that is not the case. Those individuals that worked hard, they talk about specifically Protestant work ethic, work before play, but these are all ideas before quote unquote the Protestants became a thing. And you can find this in various cultures. Chinese and the Asian cultures do this, various European countries, various African countries, South American countries, so on and so forth. A lot of people work their ass off to get their little bit of what they can get and make sure they're okay for not only themselves and their family. Competition pushing people, and communication, where it says the King's English rules written in tradition, avoiding conflict, intimacy, don't show emotions, blah blah blah. I mean, that they all of these being polite, they feel that this is all based in whiteness culture, and it's pretty insulting because this lets you know that they feel that you as a non-white person your culture and your traditions can't have any of these things in it. Family structure, heavy emphasis on family and things of that nature. Husband is breadwinner, head of household, that you don't necessarily have to have, but the family structure, the core, the nuclear family, and for me the nuclear family is just two parents rather than a man and a woman, but just two individuals working towards the betterment of their children. To me, that's what the nuclear family is about. But see, even that is something that is something that should be castigated as whiteness. So just so you know, and like I'm saying, when you see them talking about things such as whiteness and stuff like that, that is more of describing the culture of white people and white supremacy that they feel is the dominant culture in the United States. And they're describing this to all white people, independent of what you actually believe. This is just inherent to you. And you can engage in whiteness even though you aren't white. Hopefully I'm explaining that. I'm trying to for the best that I can. But yeah, so again, I just want to finish up. Basically, it's very obvious that these people don't actually care about, the diversity they preach. What they want is superficial diversity. What they want is people that all think alike, but again, may look different, but they all think alike, and they're all march towards progressivism and leftism, which will inherently bring on the cultural revolution, the actual revolution, which will bring on the socialist and communist society, so on and so forth. That's the ultimate goal, more so of the intellectuals rather than the average foot soldier type of individual that engages in this sort of stuff. But that's a different topic for a different day. So again, thank you guys for watching. Tried to wrap this up fast, but it ended up being over 20 minutes because I can't do a video quickly to save my life. But anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate you all. You have a great day wherever you are. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me how I can improve or do better. But yeah, I'm gonna head out. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Bye. I don't